Cloud Gate by Anish Kapoor is known by most as The Bean, has become one of Chicago's top attractions. The artist behind this work was Anish Kapoor, an Indian-born British sculptor who was known for his large-scale works that were made of stones, highly saturated pigments, and highly reflective stainless steel. Cloud Gate was Kapoor's first permanent public outdoor work in the United States and the most famous of his works. Cloud Gate was created by using computer technology to cut stainless steel plates into precise shapes, which were then pieced together like a puzzle and welded shut. Once it was fully assembled, the 12-foot-high central arch provided the gate for the concave chamber on the underside of the sculpture, persuading Kapoor to formally name the piece Cloud Gate. Networks of large internal rings connect the sculpture to be assembled and direct the weight to 2 points at the base. The stainless steel skin was then attached to the internal structure with flexible connectors, which allowed for it to expand and contract in response to extreme weather conditions in Chicago. After 2 years of the creation, Cloudgate was unveiled in 2004, casting the reflections of the city. The installation is one of the world's largest permanent outdoor art installations, standing at 33 feet high, 42 feet wide, 66 feet long, and weighing 110 tons. Its stainless steel surface reflects the activity of the light surrounding the city skyline, inviting visitors to touch and interact with its mirror-like surface and see their image reflected from a variety of perspectives. As stated by Kapoor, what I wanted to do in Millennium Park is make something that would engage Chicago's skyline so that one will see the clouds kind of floating in, with those very tall buildings reflected in the work. And then, since it is in the form of a gate, the participant, the viewer, will be able to enter into this very deep chamber that does, in a way, the same thing to one's reflection as the exterior of the piece is doing to the reflection of the city around. In its simplicity, Cloud Gate is just a giant mirror after all. Its curved shape provides all kinds of mirrors with different curves and viewing angles. This is how everyone builds their own image of Chicago.
The work I chose to talk about today is the work of Thomas Houdin called The Last Moments of John Brown. John Brown was born into a devout Calvinist family. Brown believed in both the abolition of slavery and racial equality. This commitment was amplified in his 1838 decision to escort a free black man to sit in his family pew. This bold act led to his family's expulsion from the church. According to O.H. Magazine of History, Volume 25, Issue 2, Brown witnessed the beating of a slave with a shovel, and that is where his start for wanting to free the slaves came from. He went to churches with the African Americans and truly wanted to give them freedom so they could be just like everyone else. Frederick Douglass, after meeting Brown, stated that Brown, and I quote, "in sympathy was a black man and as deeply interested in our cause, as though his own soul has been pierced with the iron of slavery." John Brown believed that the only way slaves could become free was revolting against the whites. He even gave slaves arms so they could fight for themselves. According to The Avenging Angel, John Brown raids on Harper's Ferry, 1859, by Ron Field. On October 16, 1859, John led a group of 18 men, both African Americans and whites, to seize the federal buildings. He hoped that this would spark a rebellion among the enslaved African Americans in the South. Because of this, many of John's army died, and many federal workers did also. John Brown was caught in Charleston, Virginia, and was convicted with murder and conspiracy with the slaves. On December 2nd, 1859, John was executed. The last known words of Brown is, "I, John Brown, am not quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land can never be purged away, but with blood." This is where the painting comes in. The painting shows John Brown being taken to the execution site. You can see that he is kissing an African American child before he's taken away. Thomas Houdin pictured this heroic image of Brown. He also painted him as more of a kind old man instead of a dangerous criminal. The painting was made in 1854 and is oil on canvas. This painting is located in the De Young Museum in San Francisco, California. I actually got to see this painting in person, and that is why I wanted to do it, because it interested me and I wanted to learn more about it. It is an interesting story of the fight against inequality in America in the 19th century.